funny. You're one of the funniest people I know.
Yes, I am.
I could definitely use some lessons in that regard. What would you like the world to know about you and your story?
To make coffee for everyone.
You love to make coffee for everyone?
Yes, and tea.
And tea. That he loves to make coffee for everyone and tea.
What is your favorite type of coffee? I'm like a diehard cold brew guy.
What do you like to make?
Hot coffee. Hot coffee.
So, Angela, tell me a little bit about how the idea for the coffee company started, and just what was your mission behind getting that started?
So, my husband and I started the record store about 10 years ago. About 9.5 years ago. And obviously, as parents of a kid on the spectrum, we never really knew what the future was going to look like for him from a vocational standpoint, right? So, and we always had conversations, and, you know, there were certain things that we resigned ourselves to, and then there were certain things where we were like, no, you know, the world's his oyster. He's going to figure things out. But as he got older, he never really zeroed in on any one thing. Like a lot of kids that he was in class with were big gamers. He never really liked computer games. He's not, he's technologically strong, but he's not driven by any of that. His big obsession was learning about production companies for Hollywood movies. Like that was sort of his thing for years. And I was like, well, how do we turn that into a career? Like, you know, I'm all about meeting them where they are, not where you want them to be, and then helping them grow and achieve that goal. And I was like, I don't know how having a hobby of looking at production companies is going to help him sustain himself in life. So a couple years ago, about 2 years ago, he really took an interest in making coffee for his dad in particular. Pretty much everything that he does in this world revolves around his father. My husband is his muse, my husband is his best friend, and basically his idol. I serve very little purpose.
Yeah. Oh, and, stop that.
And so, you know, he would always make coffee for my husband. And then when we would have family over, he was always making coffee. And we kind of started joking that, you know, he could be a barista. So then COVID hit. And, you know, unfortunately, because the record store was not an essential business, we had to shut our doors. And he was no longer able to go to school. He wasn't able to participate in any of his vocational programs. So, you know, and as you are very aware, routine is very key for anybody on the spectrum. And he has severe, in addition to having the autism diagnosis, he is also severely ADHD and has very, very high anxiety. Change makes him incredibly anxious, and we could see him kind of spiraling, right? He wasn't able to comprehend what was happening on the news and why we weren't going to work and why he couldn't do that. So my husband and I said one day, well, what can we do to help this kid kind of feel in control of something? And we thought, well, let's have a curbside coffee cart. Who knows, you know?
Yeah,
and we really thought that why not? We thought, well, it's going to be a matter of him making coffee for 20 or 30 family members, right, is what we thought. I started promoting it on social media on a Wednesday for Saturday, and it exploded. We had lines, 50, 75 deep. People were donating money to him because he was donating anything that he made. It was all donation based, and he was going to donate anything that he made to a charity, which our first charity ever that we partnered with was Best Buddies, which is a phenomenal.
I love Best Buddies.
My favorite. It's my favorite. And
me too.
Right?
Yeah.
And the fact that Norristown High School has a chapter, that was really pivotal in his senior year of high school, right? So it was just an organization that meant a lot to us. So we said, okay, that's who we're going to donate to. And people just really responded to the idea of Jakey kind of living his dream as a barista, of getting out of their house to come and get coffee. It just kind of was the perfect storm as it happened right, in May of this year, mid-COVID, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we did it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. So we did it again the end of May for another charity that again was affiliated, something that was close to our heart. It was the Jake Miletsky Foundation. Jake was a student at Norristown High School who then went on to go into the Coast Guard. And unfortunately, he and 7 of his, I guess, platoon were killed in an their helicopter went down. So the high school created a memorial scholarship in his name. So we thought, well, we'll contribute to that next. And again, he had, even after buying his supplies and donating a nice chunk to charity, he had some money left over. And instead of him keeping it for himself, we invested in having a coffee cart built for him, which is awesome. This monstrosity behind me.
It looks great, though. It looks great.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it was, and it's, I love it. Oh, I know you do, buddy. So he loves it so much.
So Jake, did you like SpongeBob? I see, actually, no, Patrick Star is up there. I see all the little toys up there. You like all those?
Yeah.
So who's up there? You got Patrick up there, Squidward, SpongeBob. He's got the Jeffersons up there because he's a big 70s sitcom fan. Wait, again, because of his father.
How come that doesn't look like the actual Squidward?
I don't know, buddy. So, long story short, we decided to have an actual cart commissioned. We cleared out a space in our record store when we got the green light to reopen. And I've had people from all over coming in to see and meet Barista Jake.
Awesome. Barista Jake.
Barista Jake. And because I've been in recruiting for 30 years, I created a nonprofit on the back end of that to work and employ other special needs teens and adults in our community, help provide them with vocational skills, customer service skills, and then market them in positions in the community.
So, Jake, when were you diagnosed with autism? And I guess also ADHD. And what were some of your main obstacles and strengths with your diagnosis growing up?
I was born with ADHD. I was born with autism.
You were born with it. That's right.
you were born. It's a part of, a lot of self-advocates say it's part of their DNA. So that's very, very true. A lot of people feel they're born on the spectrum. So Angela, when did he receive his formal diagnosis?
He got his formal diagnosis at almost 3. He was in services from 17 months. But to be honest, we noticed that there were some inconsistencies and some differences in him from 6 weeks old. He wasn't doing things that our other 2 children did, or that children in general had done. And in fact, I remember his very first Christmas. So he was born in October. This was Christmas Eve. And my cousin was a med student at the time, and he's holding him, and he said, he's not following with his eyes, and he's not. And I took offense instantly. I was like, there's nothing wrong with my son. And I was very defiant. He was like, it's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But, then I started to kind of be more in tune. And I actually fought for him to get in services from a couple months old, and we kept being told, well, he's a boy, he'll develop a little bit later.
Yeah, girls always develop quicker than boys.
Yeah, the whole bit. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I know that there's something wrong. So then finally at 17 months, they were like, we should probably get him into OT, PT, because he reached all of his milestones dramatically late. So, that was pretty much it.
Hey, Jake, let me ask you. So, I love red masks. I don't know why. It's like I have an Under Armour red mask. Your mask looks pretty awesome, and it has something written on it. What is that?
What's it say?
It says Barista Jake traveling coffee cart.
Oh, awesome. So you have your own custom mask. That's very cool.
Yeah, he's got merch.
Yep.
He's got merch.
So Jake, obviously there are a lot of people who have autism who consider, so for me, for example, I have autism, and I consider a part of my autism, my laser focus when it comes to key interest, as a really amazing strength of mine. With your autism diagnosis, have you noticed strengths as well?
What he means is what about being autistic do you think makes you really good at certain things? Do you feel like there's something you're really good at because of your autism?
Yeah, is it making coffee?
If that's what you feel it is, sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think he's got unbelievable attention to detail. But, because of his ADHD and the comorbidity there, when his medication is in his system, he is laser focused, and he does a great job at certain things. When the medication starts to wear off, he starts to not have focus, and he's very scattered, and then he's very frustrated because he can't slow his thoughts down. So
I've been there.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I've definitely been there in 2020 for sure. So, Angela, just in terms of his early challenges, what was one of his earliest challenges, and up to today, and Jake, you can answer this as well. What have you thought has been one of your greatest accomplishments?
What do you think? I think, to talk to him now, you wouldn't know this, but he had terrible communication skills. He did not speak, and when he did, we used to refer to it as Japanese, because it was like his own language, right? And it was, he still has some elements of pronoun confusion, and he's not very good with reciprocal back and forth conversation. But we joke now and say, if we could get some of that money that we paid for speech therapy back, we would love that, because he talks in his sleep, and the minute he opens his eyes until he goes to sleep at night, he is 24/7 chit-chattering, which is a blessing. Absolutely. In reality.
Because I was nonverbal until I was about 3, and I didn't start speaking complete sentences until I was about 7. But like Jake, once I stopped talking, you couldn't give me a stop.
Right. Exactly.
Was Jake nonverbal for early time in his life?
He was. Okay. He would make very odd, like he had some vocal tics, and he would babble, but his father and I had to constantly be the interpreter. People would talk to him, and he would say something, and they didn't know what he was saying. And so, but with the help of extensive speech therapy and just the perseverance to never give up, and I also think the help of his older siblings talking to him and communicating with him and kind of drawing that out of him, that was tremendously beneficial for him.
Yes, siblings play such a huge role in our community. I can't stress enough the importance of also sibling advocacy, along with parent advocacy and also self-advocacy.
100%. His sister is actually a teacher. So, she's 27, but she always knew that she wanted to go into that field, and her level of patience and understanding of him is phenomenal. And, him and his brother are 5 years apart, and, they have a very unique relationship. Jake has a little bit of jealousy towards his brother sometimes, and his brother wants him to just be his best friend. So they're cute together, but they really have come together to create a really nice unit, the three of them.
Speaking of advocacy, what would you both say is one thing you should not say to somebody who has autism? For me, it's the one I hate is, you have autism, but you don't look like you have autism. Yeah,
because, I parted his hair differently today, so that might be why you didn't notice that he was autistic.
I love that.
Yeah, right. I think it's just the lack of understanding of how different each kid on the spectrum is. I get a lot of, my cousin's neighbor's aunt has a friend who has autism, and they can do this and they do that, and but so your son will be fine. He'll be a PhD or a nuclear chemist, and I'm like, maybe not. They're all very different, and they have their own different set of skills. So for me, like I said, I am always of the mindset, meet them where they are and grow together, and don't have these expectations of where you want them to be.
Jake, do you have any friends that you would want to give a shout out to?
Want to say hi to any of your friends?
Hello.
Who do you want to say hi to?
Um,
Go ahead.
who do you think it is?
I know who it is. Go ahead.
Say
Go ahead.
that K word.
You can say it.
Can I say the K-I-M?
Yes, say it.
K-I-M.
What's her name?
Kim.
Kim.
Kim, nice. Where's Kim today? Oh, your girlfriend. Oh, okay, awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I don't have a girlfriend, man. You could give me some lessons on this stuff.
I mean Kimberly.
Okay, Kimberly. Yep.
Kimberly, nice, very cool. And Kimberly is from your town, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they were in life skills class together in high school. So they are they're friends. They socialize once in a while. He proposes every time he sees her. So
that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
So
it's cute.
If both of you could be president for one day, what would you like to see accomplished for people who have autism and really anyone who has a diagnosis, so ADHD as well?
Wow. For me, I would just like more inclusion. I would like a better understanding. I would like disabilities to be something that they talk about openly in school, and they help kids understand why their peer may have a difference in communication or a physical disability, and really have more conversation around that and the inclusion, and have more groups that are supporting and showing respect to that community. What do you think?
I love that.
Yeah.
What else?
If
you were president, what would you want?
I would want to have more coffee to be brought. What do you think?
I think, honey,
so free coffee for the world, Jake?
That's what,
Yeah.
that might end all of the strife in this world if everybody had
food for the world and
great food, yep, and love, right?
Yeah,
and treating people with respect.
Yes.
There we go.
I love that. So, Jake, you're 20 now, so you will have my vote in the 2040 the 2036 election. You have my vote.
What do you think about that? Yeah.
When you're 36.
36.
So, Jake, what are some of your hopes and goals for yourself in the future? Obviously, you're a very handsome young man. What would you hope to do for yourself in the future, whether it's personally or professionally?
What kind of goals do you have for yourself? So you started a business, right?
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself, in 5 years? Would you like to be married someday?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to live in a house that's not with mommy and dad?
I don't know.
You don't have to.
No, I'll live here.
You want to live with us? Okay. What about, do you want to have children? You want to be a dad?
I'm not sure.
Okay. He's not sure.
Jake, I think you make a pretty cool dad. You got the funniness going on. I mean, if you have kids one day, I'm sure they're going to absolutely adore you. So, I just wanted to go back to, so obviously there's also a lot of misconceptions in our community. And Angela, you kind of answered this already with just meeting people where they are. Is there a misconception that you see in the autism community that just really gets on your nerves? I know one big one for me, for example, is that girl autism. A lot of the times girls fall through the cracks in our community, and
True.
Boys are 4 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism than girls. Is there like a misconception you see that you wish was debunked?
I do. I wish that people did not think that autistics that they lack empathy, or that they're not capable of love and having feelings hurt, or that those that are nonverbal or are not hyperverbal, that because that means that they can't then hear what you're saying about them, because just because they can't say it doesn't mean they're not hearing it and feeling it and processing it. So I think it all just goes back to treating people the way you want to be treated and not just making blanket statements about people. And that goes, that can go a multitude of ways, but that's something that will often bother me. People will say, oh, does Jake even understand that he has his own business? Well, yeah, he understands. He comes to work every day. Yeah. He cleans up. He makes the coffee. He waits on customers. He's fully aware that he has a business, and he's clearly very happy to tell you about his coffee making skills.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else that both of you would like the world to know about your stories?
I think the main thing is, what do you want? What do you want to tell them?
Making coffee, hot tea, and
Listen. What is the best thing to you about having a coffee cart?
Doing good work.
Doing good work. So I think just the fact that and greeting your customers. He is in a safe environment working with me, his mother, and with his father day in and day out. And if we can provide that type of safe environment for other people on the spectrum or with any kind of a disability or a diagnosis, that's what we want to be. We want to be a safe place to help the special needs teens and adults in our community reach their goals. And we live in a community that there's a lot of impoverished families. There's a lot of non-English speaking families. And so some of those kids don't have the same types of opportunities, right? We want to be able to open our doors and say, let us help teach you how to be a barista, how to, clean a desk, how to take the trash out, and then market you to the community so that you can then provide for yourself. It's all about teaching independence and acceptance and work ethic.
Everyone, Kerry Magro here from A Special Community. I can't thank you enough for watching this video. And if you like this video, please click on some more videos around our YouTube page. We are just trying to give a voice to countless people in our neurodiverse community. So please, if you can, subscribe to our video page, and then you'll also get to see a little bit more about my story from nonverbal autism to today being a professional speaker. Thanks so much, y'all.